Hello, movie friends. Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. Let's get into this week's movie news.
Oh, yeah. Let's begin with the box office. And I think it's safe to say that Ant-Man 3 Quantumania is officially a flop. You know, this movie came in at second place at the box office. It dropped another 63%. It pulled in only $12 million domestic in its third weekend.
Ouch.
It's made only $370 million globally. This is over 2 weeks of a release for a Marvel movie. It needs, again, like we've been saying, probably $600 million to just break even for Disney because ticket sales are split with movie theaters. I know we keep saying this, but we want to reiterate it because a lot of people online are saying this is a successful film because of this box office on the $250 million budget. It is not so far. It's probably going to end up losing the studio at least $100 million, maybe more, if it keeps performing this low. But at first place, we had Creed 3. It's a knockout. $51 million opening weekend. Awesome film. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Had a really terrific time seeing this film. I think Michael B. Jordan, what a directorial debut, and he got very inventive and experimental with the filmmaking, especially with the fighting sequences. You're not going to want to miss this one in theaters. Obviously, you got to see it in IMAX.
Yeah, and we're going to post a review of it after its release, and Jonathan Majors was fantastic, and I think that his performance in that was way better than what I saw in Kang and Ant-Man. Not that he's not a good actor in that movie, but just like the way Kang was written was just quite underwhelming, but he really showed his acting chops in Creed 3 and was a terrific villain.
Yeah, I highly recommend if you're gonna see something this week, make that number one of your top priorities.
Number one
for going to the theaters to see a film because it was really excellent. I really enjoyed the hell out of it.
And then in third place, holding strong is Cocaine Bear with the $10 million weekend, which means it only dropped about 45% from its opening, and it has reached already $35 million global total. So it is standout success for the studio and for Elizabeth Banks. Then at number 4, we have Demon Slayer, Sword Village with a $10 million opening weekend. And then Jesus Revolution holding strong in 5th place in its second weekend with $4.5 million. It's grossed $21 million global for its total as well.
Yeah, so I mean, a pretty solid weekend for the box office. Now that we're heading into March, we have a lot of really good movies to look forward to this month. I mean, we have John Wick 4 is coming out, 65 is coming out, lots of
I can't wait for
action
65.
hits. I can't wait for both of those movies. Those are my two most anticipated of the month for sure. But this is going to be a banger of a month. We're already off to a pretty good start for the year, I would say, box office wise. And I think we're gonna improve from last year, 2022. Which
this year's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, did you remember that horror list that we posted on Instagram? There's like 40 major horror movies coming out this year.
Yeah, you know, Scream 6 is gonna make a lot of money too. That comes out soon.
Scream 6 is getting very good reactions too. I read that the early press screenings are saying that it's one of the best Scream movies and the best one since the first one. And setting in New York is really exciting, and audiences are going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And it looks like it's setting up to be a major hit, especially its summer release. Usually, if I remember correctly, most Scream movies come out usually during the Halloween season. And so releasing a Scream film in the summer is a big deal. That means the studio thinks it's going to make a lot of money to put it in one of their prime slots. So that seems like a big deal. I think that the box office of this year is going to be the best since 2019, I would say.
We also have the Boston Stranglers coming out this month, which I'm really curious about because I love serial killer movies, and that's obviously based on a true story.
I thought you were going to say I love serial killers.
I mean, a lot of people do love serial killers. Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves comes out this month as well on March 31st. So big month. This might be a huge March box office.
I'm not sure Dungeons & Dragons is going to have a very strong box office haul.
We'll see.
I think that it's going to make maybe 2025 opening weekend.
Probably it'll probably be similar to what World of Warcraft did.
Yeah.
Which was a kind of disappointing opening weekend.
Oh, yeah. That
box office.
It was just called Warcraft and it bombed. So I just don't see Dungeons & Dragons being a big hit.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I need a more interesting trailer. It just seemed like a Thor Ragnarok trailer or Marvel trailer to me.
And it does, from what I've seen online, percolating around the webs, it doesn't seem like Dungeons & Dragons is really pulling a lot of audiences in terms of garnering interest for it. So
outside of the gamers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm guessing it's going to be a pretty lukewarm box office. That's my guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming that as well. We'll find out.
We'll see in 2 weeks.
The Mandalorian Season 3 premiered recently, and I got a chance to watch the first episode finally. You know, we're huge Mando fans. And I was, a little underwhelmed. It was a little slow-paced in terms of the story. I hope it picks up throughout the season. I'm sure it will. But I felt very lukewarm about this episode. A little bored. But we'll see where it goes going forward.
I watched some of it too, and I was very bored.
I was just like, it's interesting because this is like the flagship of Star Wars for Disney right now. Mandalorian is like their number one property.
Sure, yeah.
They haven't had a movie in a while. What's it been, like 4 years since they've had a...
Since Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah, it's been a while.
2019.
And Mandalorian's got filling the void for the best content, really, for audiences for Star Wars. Obviously, we've heard... I haven't watched Andor yet, but that got very low ratings in terms of... But it was critically acclaimed.
Well received, yeah.
And audiences liked it a lot, but no one really watched that show. Mandalorian is their flagship, their star right now. And I was a little disappointed that, this is their most important property at the moment. And it just feels like it went down a level in terms of the last 2 seasons, because I enjoyed the hell out of the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I wasn't very impressed with this episode. I watched about 20 to 30 minutes or so, and it seemed like they were just going through the motions. It wasn't very exciting, and I'm not sure. I mean, I understand maybe the first episode of a pilot episode of a series might be a little slow. You're setting up
ain't
the
no
world.
pilot.
But like by the third season, like your first episode going into the third season should be pretty exciting. And I thought it was lacking a lot in terms of engagement and anything that was very interesting or intriguing.
We'll see what goes forward, though. It's only been 2 episodes that have been released.
Oh, they did it like back to back?
Yeah, they did a second episode as well. So we'll see.
So you hate Mando, is what you're saying?
I don't hate Mando. I'm a little
disappointed.
Not disappointed. It's too early to say disappointed. But I was expecting more. That's all I'm going to say, because the last 2 seasons were awesome.
The last season was awesome. It was
I
really
loved
great.
season 2.
Yeah.
Season 1 was great as well, but I loved season 2 so much.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, it was just the same kind of emotions, the same kind of jokes. Like Grogu is so cute. Like when his head first popped up in the ship, I laughed out loud. But then like the food joke again, the same joke again.
we could do him cutely eating food in every episode. I mean, let's get things going.
Some more Disney news. So, Hugh Jackman, who's obviously getting ready for his role as Wolverine Logan in Deadpool 3, somehow he kind of let something slip that is a little interesting to hear. So he was talking to this newspaper, Le Parisien, about the film that he was in, The Son, which was kind of the same... The universe of the father, right, or the sequel?
Not the universe per se, but it was the same director and writer. Yeah.
So
because Anthony Hopkins appears in it, but it's not the same character as in the father.
So he was asked a question. I don't know what the question was, but he said, "Yes, it will even be a dual role." So does that mean we're gonna get multiple versions of Wolverine in Deadpool 3? Will there be a variant of Deadpool, because he's already done a dual role with the Logan, where he played the young version of the mutant X-23.
Yeah.
So will it be a dual role like that? Will there be a younger version of Logan, a different version of Logan from a different universe? We're getting the multiverse even in the Deadpool movies now.
If they de-aged him, that would be pretty fun, honestly.
I think it would be cool. I would be cool to see that again.
But if it's not de-aged like X-23, where he's like a psycho,
20, yeah.
but if it was like Hugh Jackman from X-Men 1, that would be fun. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, with that old jacket.
Yeah, the jacket. Oh, man.
It wouldn't fit, though, because he's so yoked compared to when he was an X-Men.
I mean, he could only put on so much weight in like a few months.
Yeah, because he got cast so late in that.
Yeah. But he made such a big mark in those first couple of movies, and he was just so surprising to audiences in a great way, and just really stole the show and showcased his absolute star power as his first 2 performances of Wolverine. I would love to see that back. That would be cool. That would be super fun. And if they're like working together,
2 Wolverines working together,
yeah,
that'd be interesting.
But speaking of, I just saw an interview with Hugh Jackman where he said he actually turned down Casino Royale
as Bond.
Yeah, as Bond, because he had done the first X-Men and was blowing up, obviously. The producers of the Bond franchise were reaching out to just a handful of actors, Daniel Craig obviously being one of them, but Hugh Jackman said the producers reached out to him and said, would playing Bond interest you? And we don't have a exact script yet, and this is in 2003, so a few years before Casino Royale came out. And Hugh Jackman actually spoke with Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe gave him some advice. He's like, if that goes well, then you're just doing Bond and Wolverine over and over and over again for like the next 10 years. Do you really want to do that?
20 years.
Yeah, with your career. Yeah, 20 years at least. Do you really want to just do those 2 characters and not really be able to do much else? if Bond works out. So Hugh Jackman decided, no, I'm going to pass on this. And also because they wouldn't let him read a script or story. They were just like, we just are asking actors, would you sign on for this? And so he turned it down. And then he said he saw Casino Royale. He's like, oh, I messed up on that one.
Well, I mean, I don't hate that decision because, you know,
me either,
he would just be James Bond and Wolverine forever.
Yeah.
You know, he would not
20 years of two
he wouldn't
roles,
have really
yeah.
had time to do anything else interesting. Maybe some like side performances here and there, but in terms of leading a movie or being like major roles in films,
Or even doing theater, which he loves.
it's pretty.
I believe he likes doing theater more than anything. So like he wouldn't have had time to do any musical theaters.
But still, it wouldn't have been the same James Bond. It wouldn't have. It would have.
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Craig was perfect for what they were
Yeah.
going for. Absolutely perfect.
It still would have been badass though.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Imagine being Wolverine and James Bond.
Yeah.
But I wonder how the performance of both those films would have been.
But also, you got to factor in the scheduling constraints of major movies. You're filming a Bond movie for a year. It might have restricted what he could have done for the X-Men franchise. So it wouldn't have probably been the same for either franchise.
Yeah, because he probably can't have a beard for when he's filming James Bond, or sometimes if they have to film at the same time.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot of issues.
There definitely would have been scheduling overlap or problems like that because there's such long filming schedules, those big movies.
And you can't be that jacked to be an agent. Like,
That's why Henry Cavill currently wouldn't work as Bond.
he could
too
slim down.
big.
He could slim down.
I like how you, for Cavill, you'll be like, it's fine. But Jackman, he's too big.
No, because if he's doing Logan at the same time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Just saying. Moving on to some Jake Gyllenhaal news. Let's talk about another ripped man in Hollywood. This guy is absolutely yoked and shredded for a UFC movie. So it looks like the Roadhouse remake that he's going to be starring with Conor McGregor in is going to be an MMA UFC movie because Jake was seen behind the scenes of a UFC weigh-in as a fighter.
A real weigh-in.
Yeah, looking lean as hell. So it looks like he definitely did like the 24-hour intense weight drop and weight cut and water cut that UFC fighters do before their fights for the weigh-ins. Dana White's even there on stage. It looks legit. For me, I can't wait. Now I'm even more excited to see this movie because I like Conor McGregor a lot, and obviously Jake's a legend, and we love the guy so much. But to see him doing another fighting movie, because I really like Southpaw. But my one con here is Jake is way too beautiful to be a UFC fighter. Like he's too perfect.
I don't see any cauliflower ears.
Nothing. Like his face, you can tell has never really been punched. Besides when he was training for Southpaw. Obviously.
Your nose is just huge when you're a
his
UFC
face
fighter.
is too
for
pristine
yeah.
to be a boxer. I could buy,
yeah.
but the UFC fighter, it's just like it's too perfect.
Your face gets pummeled too often to just be that.
Not just fists, but the grappling, the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu.
You can't have a sharp nose as a UFC fighter.
Yeah, you're spending half your life with your face pressed down on a mat, you know? But I think it looks cool. I'm very excited about this. I love UFC movies. You know, Warrior is such an excellent film. We should probably cover that soon. And that's a fan favorite. People ask about that movie a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see a huge actor taking on another UFC movie. We had Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton in that one, with Nick Nolte, of course, playing the father. But then we have Jake and Conor in this movie. I'm pretty excited. I'm curious about it even more.
It also, I'm guessing it would be the setup for the character in Roadhouse. Maybe he starts out as this is like a big fight for him early in his career. It doesn't go well. Maybe he gets seriously injured, so then he has to become a bouncer, which is the role of Roadhouse. He's a bouncer at a bar. So maybe that's how this is like the baseline for the story.
He gets his one shot, one opportunity.
He doesn't make it happen.
He's everything he ever wanted.
Or he get like a bad injury and he can't fight anymore.
Yeah, because he's definitely someone who maybe this is his first professional fight. Maybe he has fought before, but this is like his first big UFC opportunity, like Rocky.
That's my guess. I'm guessing it could be like the first act of the movie is him as an MMA fighter.
Roadhouse is probably going to be Rocky.
Yeah. But then that explains why Conor's in it, so I can't. I'm looking forward to it. And it looks like they probably did that in one take because they don't want to spend hours messing up the weigh-in. They probably just had Jake in, did that for literally 20 seconds, up on the scale, shake Dana's hand, and then leave. Like, that's probably how they filmed it for the film.
He could probably barely stand because the weigh-in, you are so dehydrated. You've lost 10, 15 pounds in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
It looks like he really did a cut, too, so it looks intense as hell. And I'm down. Let's go. Love the UFC.
LFG! There's a final trailer for Season 4 of Succession. HBO Max just dropped it this past week, and it looks hilarious, dramatic, and very exciting. Looks like Logan Roy doesn't seem to want to give up his power anytime soon, but the show is called Succession, so someone will succeed him by the end of the season. This is the final season of Succession. If you're a fan of the show like we are, you're probably very excited to see how everything will wrap up. James, who do you think will be the successor of Logan Roy?
It's going to be tough because...
What's your guess?
There's so many contenders. I mean, we have Greg, Roman, Kendall, Shiv. We have Skarsgård's character coming in. Tom's an option. So, or even Logan can keep it for himself.
Yeah.
Or just sell it and screw everybody and take all their shares or just give them their payouts.
Stubbornly be like, no one can be me.
You know, I think that Logan's just going to use everyone to his advantage, and I think that he's going to end up either keeping it or selling it and not giving them control and just giving them a payout. That's my guess right now. But I would love to see. You said like
Greg. I'm going wild card. Greg
the egg.
Greg as the succeeder.
Season 3 ended with a great twist and great cliffhanger, a shift of power. Tom is rising up in the hierarchy of potential successors, but still, it's up in the air to anybody. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm very excited for season 4. I'm calling Logan Roy right now is just going to maintain control based off this trailer. He looks like he's pulling out all the big guns. He doesn't want to let go. He wants even more now because his kids are fighting over the power and they expect to be in control of his company that he built and they didn't build.
We'll see. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I think. And it premieres March 26th, so 3 weeks away.
Sunday, baby. Let's
3
go.
weeks.
A couple weeks. There's news on Fede Alvarez's Alien movie. Now, Fede directed the first Don't Breathe movie, so I'm really excited to see this film from him. It starts filming in Budapest next week. Now, there's an Alien movie, but then there's also that Alien TV series that's coming out very soon, too. That's also in production. That's going to be on Earth. I believe this one will be in space, I'm assuming. Now,
Alienverse.
but it could be on Earth because, filming in Budapest, it's probably... I don't know where it's going to take place, actually, because it's still very much under wraps because they haven't really released any information. All we know is filming in Budapest next week. Isabel Merced just joined the cast. It's starring Kaylee Spaney. She's going to be the lead of the film. Now, Alvarez wrote the new film and is obviously working on it right now. Ridley Scott is producing it. Not sure how involved he is in it, but he's on as producer. It won't directly connect with either the original movies or Scott's prequel films, but it is set in the same universe, which is pretty interesting information. I'm guessing it's some other colony in space. That's my assumption, or on a ship somewhere, just drifting.
And I bet there's a xenomorph.
Oh, there's going to be quite a few. There's going to be quite a few. I'm curious. I think Fede Alvarez is a great young voice in the horror genre, and to see him take on an alien monster movie in the Alien franchise.
Plus, he's done such a great job with gore, with Evil Dead, and Don't Breathe. So hopefully they stray away from CGI in this film with him as the helmer of the project. And hopefully we get a lot of practicality, xenomorph, and killing. So I would say one of my biggest cons for the more recent films has been so much CGI. Whereas the originals, the practicality of the xenomorphs is really what makes it so amazing. So hopefully they're getting back to that practicality of filmmaking.
That's right. I forgot Sam Raimi picked him for Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That was maybe one of the best remakes ever of all time.
Yeah,
especially in the horror genre.
It's up there for all timers.
For just a complete remake. Mm-hmm. Did a really great job. We got a trailer for the highly anticipated Haunted Mansion from Disney. Looks pretty good. Not gonna lie.
It looks good.
It looks scary. It looks spooky. Great cast. Pretty solid visual effects.
Looks like they're really trying to scare kids too. So I'm all for that. It's not like super fluffy. I was like, are they even gonna go scary with this? It does look pretty scary.
Cast is awesome. Rosario Dawson, Keith Stanfield, Owen Wilson. Wow, playing a preacher. Dane DeVito.
It's haunted. Wow.
But it looks spooky as hell.
Yeah, I think the visual effects look great. Excellent cast, and it was much better than what I was expecting.
Same.
Especially because of Disney's track record of like last few years. I was like, oh, Haunted Mansion. And I was like, oh, look, it actually looks good. It looks like it's entertaining for both adults and kids, which is important.
Yeah. I like the original. I liked it when we were kids.
Who was in the original?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
What year was that? Hold on.
2002?
Eddie Murphy.
2001?
Haunted Mansion. 2003.
Wow, yeah.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Next, 14% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my God. That's bad.
5.1 on IMDb. Actually,
Yikes.
maybe I didn't like it that much.
Well, you were a kid when you saw it.
I was a kid.
So yeah, you had poor taste. You didn't have a movie podcast as a 13-year-old.
Imagine if we did. What would we be talking about?
We really liked it. It was scary.
Kill Bill. We're going to talk about it for the 50th week in a row.
Actually, it wouldn't be much different. We would have done a Bourne trilogy.
No, those were the only one was out.
By 2013?
Yeah, only 2002, Born Identity was out.
By 2013.
No, 2003. When we were 13.
Oh my God, I'm old.
Yeah, we were born in 1990, bro.
That's right.
Anthony tried to eliminate 10 years off of his age. Yeah, I was 13 in 2003.
It didn't work.
I didn't realize you were a Gen Z, bro.
I just thought I was 13 in 2013. I don't know why. Oh my God. Moving on. More Lord of the Rings news. So Warner Brothers, some insider information has come out about their upcoming Lord of the Rings purchase and adaptations. And insiders say that they are planning a Marvel Cinematic Universe type of approach to their film slate for Lord of the Rings. So it looks like we're going to get spin-offs of characters, which will culminate in team-up movies with those characters. That's what it sounds like to me. If they're going Marvel, then that's basically probably what their plan is. They're probably right now planning out who are the main characters we're going to approach with their own individual films, and then what can we do for teaming up movies. That's my guess.
I don't love this.
I don't like it at all. So my joke last week, I said the LOTRCU, Lord of the Rings Cinematic Universe. It was just a joke I made last week, but it's a reality. It's real. It is the LOTRCU.
It's just too much, man. It's too much.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know. I don't like this at all. Like we said last week, we have 3 different companies making Lord of the Rings adaptations at the same time. So
it's just gonna get watered down even more and more.
Oh yeah.
Every adaptation, every show.
And do you want to see someone else playing Aragorn?
Absolutely not.
Do you want to see someone else playing Gandalf?
No freaking way.
I mean, I don't know. Do you want to see a different Frodo?
No, man. I don't like this at all. I really don't. I think it's gonna take away from the original trilogy, which is still some of the greatest films of all time. They'll be loved forever. They're timeless. But if you milk the crap out of it, people are less likely to, I think, maybe enjoy the original trilogy. Or if not, maybe it'll make them enjoy it even more. They'll be like, I can't watch this, but let me go back and watch the OG trilogy.
The Hobbit did that for me.
And then Rings of Power did that for me for
double
the
down,
Hobbit.
yeah.
For the Hobbit, like, oh man, we didn't know what we had.
Oh, I didn't know the Hobbit was a masterpiece.
Wow.
until I watched Rings of Power.
I think it's just a cash grab. They're just going to milk it for all they can. It's an IP war right now. I mean, same thing with why. Another example with Warner Brothers, they're making an I Am Legend sequel that we talked about a few weeks ago by changing the ending of the original to make a sequel so that they can make a sequel. The ending's different now, than what we saw in theaters.
And also, you got to factor in what's the motivation and intention for these companies buying these properties. It's to make more money. They're not like, oh, Tolkien would have wanted this. Tolkien would have wanted an Avengers style team up.
Tolkien wouldn't have even wanted the original trilogy, to be honest. But I mean, fuck it.
Fuck it. It's being done for money. And Warner Brothers also announced they also had a disastrous final quarter last year. They lost $2 billion.
I wonder what's been going on.
Disney lost $4 billion. So all of these major studios, they're going back to what they know are surefire hits, and that's why they're investing in famous, beloved IPs and properties that they can just make more content from, because they know it's like this will for sure garner money. It's pretty safe. We're not taking chances on original ideas. And it's all motivated because they're pretty desperate right now to turn a profit.
My worry is because these studios have lost so much money in the last 3-4 years. At first, the easy thing to point at was COVID and lockdowns. Yes, obviously that took a hit to movie theaters and studios. They didn't have the box offices they were relying on, because every year for like 10 years straight is the best box office of all time annually. But there was a quality problem as well. And I think they're not solving their quality problem, but now they're just they're trying to just throw a piece of newspaper over it, like Big Daddy with an IP.
It's covered with some newspaper.
Yeah, it's just like the the puke stain. They're just taking newspaper.
Veronica will handle it.
The Lord of the Rings IP, the Toy Story 5. These are the newspapers that they're putting over. The problem they've been really having with the quality of their products the last 4 or 5 years, because there's been a decline for sure. And they're just using they're using surefire IPs, like you said, and I think their quality won't change. That's my worry.
You're like covering a shitty car with new paint.
Kind of, yeah.
To make it look nice.
It's still a 98 Datsun.
I drive a Dodge Stratus. I drive a Dodge Stratus.
It's a 98 Honda Civic. How dare you? I just quoted that mall movie.
Oh, with Dane Cook?
Yeah.
What was that movie called? Like it was like at a Costco, right?
Yeah, he was a clerk. I mean,
Employee of the Month.
Yeah, Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
With Jessica Simpson.
That was a Dax Shepard.
Dax Shepard, yeah. I was quoting Will Ferrell on SNL with the awkward family dinner.
Uh-huh.
It's basically like an American Beauty kind of dinner where it's a father, son, and wife, and none of them like each other. And then Will Ferrell just screams, "I drive a Dodge Stratus! I drive a Dodge Stratus!" Which is like a hatchback. It's not even that nice of a car.
It's a medium car. It's a sedan. God. No, that's what I think is they're not solving their quality problem. They're just going to IPs to put the newspaper over the issues.
Yeah,
that's what I think is happening.
And also, they're just buying famous things to make new adaptations of them because they know people it will get eyeballs on them for sure.
Eyeballs, kid.
But I will say, at least
literally,
yeah, it seems as though at least Warner Brothers is committed to making theatrically released films. We'll see. They do have HBO Max, so we'll see.
We shall see.
Next up,
there's going to be like a Gimli TV series.
Oh my God. Gimli in the mines.
Gimli origins.
Legolas, we're not in the forest anymore.
I'm out of arrows. Aragorn, 12 years old, seduced by Arwen. Hut for teacher.
No, it'd just be called Strider. Rise of Strider.
Rise of Strider. Oh my God. Who else could get Boromir?
Boromir, the favored son.
Another show idea. Where was Gondor?
Sam's gonna have a gardening program.
Oh my goodness. But like we said, we've been talking about, there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to sit back and take it on the chin.
Yeah. Just
take it. Just take that haymaker or the constant jets.
I at least hope they hire veteran filmmakers to oversee it.
We'll see, because with Warner Brothers recently, the showrunners, head screenwriter, and lead actress of the new Dune series, Sisterhood, all left the project last week. That's like kind of scary news.
Yeah.
When the people who are running the show have been running it for the last year, because that got announced a while ago.
They've done pre-production too, yeah.
They all left the show. They all left the production in the same week. Like, what's going on over there?
My guess is, so the public statement that Warner Brothers made was that it was creative differences, in that the director's approach to the tone and style of what Denis did was too drastically different from what Denis did. And so they said they want to kind of redo it.
But how do you spend a whole year on production and then like, the lead shift there?
Well, it's just a change of management. They saw it and they're like, we're not releasing this. Is basically what happened.
It's kind of similar to, I guess, with Blade.
Yeah,
and they finally saw like the scripts, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's my guess, because obviously they had a different heads of the studios at Warner Brothers, the different kinds, the different, like the TV development or whatever. And so in HBO Max now, it's all under Discovery, and they have completely new heads. So I'm guessing the new heads and execs saw what they were working on and were like, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to go in a different direction. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah. That's probably accurate, because the same thing happened with Blade. Same thing looks like it happened with the Marvels, where they pushed it all the way to November, which is curious. Because,
well, I mean, it's not the same because Disney doesn't have new management.
No, yeah, they do. What's his name came back?
Oh, Iger.
Yeah, Bob Iger came back.
Yeah, you're right.
And obviously, Indiana Jones, I'm sure they were changing some stuff in. The rumors were he wasn't a huge fan of the cut they had when he came in.
Oh, really?
But clearly, they pushed the Marvels back for a reason. They also put it in the same month as Dune, which is odd. Why would they want to compete with Dune at the box office?
Is in the same
November now.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, maybe they're 2 weeks apart or so.
Still, though.
I wouldn't go anywhere near Dune.
Me neither.
Yeah.
That's why, that was the oddest thing to me, is releasing it in November against Dune, which is hotly anticipated.
Because Dune made $400 million during the pandemic, during lockdown. So it was, with a completely open world of people going to theaters, like, Dune has a lot of potential to probably pull in $800 million.
I think it could, because Zendaya is going to be huge in this film, because a lot of people were so disappointed. They never read the book, but they don't understand, like, Chani doesn't really come into play until the second half, which this movie is. But they put her in the opening and obviously in Paul's dreams, and at the end, the third act and climax. But Dune Part 2 is going to have a ton of Chani. Also, Florence Pugh's coming in. She's huge. We have Austin Butler coming in.
Denis just hired the hottest young stars alive right now.
The cast in general.
Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet. It's like, they're like the it actors right now.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. So the four of them leading this movie, plus we have, Rebecca Ferguson coming back. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to just see a trailer to see what they're doing. I'm so curious about the approach of, Paul and Jessica now going to see the Fremen and live amongst them and see what that's going to be like. The Sietches, so curious. But like I said, the box office, I think, has a lot more potential than the first film.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are still... A lot of people... The joke was it was a trailer for Dune Part 2. Come on.
There's more than that.
There's more than that. But now we have these huge young stars that people are going to go put butts in seats to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, next up, there's more news about Robert Eggers' upcoming Nosferatu remake. According to Screen Rant, they hired Marvel actor to co-star in the star-studded cast. And what they mean by Marvel actor there, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, who has a great career outside of one Marvel movie.
He's in one movie.
One movie.
As the 10th build character. Marvel actor. Marvel star Kate Blanchett.
The guy's a Golden Globe winner. He won a Golden Globe. My God. Anything
silly,
to get the
man.
click. Anything to get the clickbait.
Casts Marvel
Shame on you,
actor.
Screen Rant. Shame on you. We get lots of news from you, but like, come on, Aaron Taylor Johnson. He can just say his name. Everybody knows who he is.
Say my name. Crazy.
Unreal.
Marvel actor.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
It's just so demeaning.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
not that being a Marvel actor is demeaning. I mean, like, having the career Aaron Taylor Johnson's had at his age of, 33?
Yeah.
And calling him just a Marvel actor?
If you've been in 6 Marvel movies, yeah, you can say that. But he was in 1. And then he was in a post-credit scene, obviously. But, like, that doesn't count. Like, he was in 1 Marvel movie. Like, he's done a lot more than just that.
He's been in so many good movies.
Like, it's just odd to bill him as that when it's just been 1 notch on his entire career.
Wow.
Just
another notch on your belt.
If you're in 10 Marvel movies, you're a Marvel actor. Absolutely. You can throw that in the headline. But I just find it odd when you're in 1 movie and you still get that bill.
Did you get my Wedding Crashers reference?
What'd you say?
I'm just another notch on your belt. Stage 5 clinger.
Isla Fisher is great in that.
Next up, we have some Hans Zimmer news.
Yes,
He
Hans.
has been teasing this incredible live album, slowly trickling out some tracks here and there. He's released that I've listened to already, 3 tracks about Last Samurai that he's done live, a Dune track he did live, 3 Wonder Woman tracks got released recently, as well as The Lion King. But now the full album is available, and it's incredible. Oh, Interstellar as well. There's some incredible live Interstellar tracks. You don't want to miss it. But
This
now
is the one with the yellow text on the album? Gotcha.
So now the full album is live. He put on this incredible show that he's been touring with musicians who have helped him create a lot of these musical scores over the years. So a lot of musicians he works with regularly, as well as him shredding guitar on stage. Just Hans being Hans. I highly recommend tuning in, going to the gym, doing whatever, because you will not be disappointed. It's so good.
I know what I'm listening to
The
today.
Interstellar ones are incredible. The Last Samurai ones are incredible.
Yeah.
I love Wonder Woman 84's soundtrack, so those are great as well. But
I've heard the Samurai ones. They're excellent.
so good. But because it's different because he's taken the scores, but like he's got a guy on a drum kit. So
The whole time,
that's
yeah.
doing the percussion. It's really interesting. It's like a rock band doing his music.
Oh, I love it.
John Wick, obviously, like we said, is coming out this month. We've got some new clips that I'm not looking at, but we also got a new poster. Really cool. They always have excellent marketing, excellent posters. There's a really cool IMAX poster that got released where he's standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, but also there's a new official one dropped by the studio where John Wick His face is literally the map of Paris. It's really cool. It's got like all the boroughs and blocks and cities and streets and rivers and everything. So cannot wait to see this movie. It's going to be action-packed. It's like, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Sign me the hell up.
Let's go.
Marketing campaigns have been great. They did Wick Week last week, so very excited to see this film.
Same. It looks fantastic. Next up, we talked about Hellboy and its new adaptation last week.
That everyone wanted.
Everyone's been asking for it. You've all been asking for it. And Jack Kesey has been cast as the new Hellboy. He was previously appeared in Deadpool 2, 12 Strong, the Chris Hemsworth film, Baywatch, and TV shows like The Strain and Claws. This will reportedly be a younger take on the character, and production is being overseen by Millennium Media, so it's obviously going to be Hellboy Origins.
Where did he get his
Well, they did his origins in the first Hellboy.
Shut up, Anthony.
When he was a kid.
Shut up, Anthony.
John Hurt found him.
Shut up, Anthony. It doesn't matter. Dexter got his origin story in the first season, but forget it, man.
This is a younger, hotter Hellboy.
It's crazy because David Harbour was just Hellboy like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How successful are these movies to like
Not
make it,
successful.
like
Even Guillermo's were not very successful. They're 200 mil box
to
office.
justify it like being a Batman-like character? I like Hellboy, but the movies have just been, besides Guillermo's, they're just kind of like meh. They're meh for me. I like the first one a lot. I really do.
From what I've read, they're going smaller in scale with this film, so it's going to be a cheaper made movie.
He looks like he's cast well, though. He's a big guy. His facial structure is huge, so
He looks
it's
like
probably
a demon.
No, but I mean, like
He's got long horns.
he's already got a tail. All right,
Not much work needs to be done.
but you know what I mean. Like he needs whoever plays Hellboy has to have a huge head to fucking get those horns on there, all the prosthetics. You know what I mean?
Big head.
It's a thing. It's a thing you got to look at as a casting director. And
Well, I mean, yeah, Harbour and Perlman they're both very big guys.
Perlman's head is massive.
Yeah, they're big guys.
Like you got to have a noggin.
Plus the tail helps.
You're putting yeah. So Jack Kesey's tail. I'm just kidding, Jack. You don't have a tail.
That's not why you got the role, Jack. You're a talented guy. It's not because of your tail and horns.
All right, we got some Robert De Niro news. It's his first time officially doing a TV series called 0 Day. Obviously, he's done stuff
Jesus, 60 years later.
He's done like SNL here and there, but he's never been like on a show before. So this is a Netflix series. It's been kept under wraps, but we have a little bit of a synopsis. It's a political thriller. Obviously, De Niro's got some familiarity with that genre for sure. Official logline reveals that 0 Day asks the question on everyone's mind, where's Hellboy, the sequel coming?
That was good.
0 Day asks the question on everyone's mind, how do we find truth in a world in crisis, one seemingly being torn apart by forces outside our control, and in an era rife with conspiracy theory and subterfuge? How much of those forces are products of our own doing, perhaps even our own imagining?
Sounds ambiguous as fuck, honestly. Thanks for narrowing it down.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Netflix.
Thanks, Netflix. It was better when it was just political thriller.
I mean, that log line, is it sort of AI or virtual reality or different realities?
I don't see that. I see that as like, I don't know, media, tribalism. Yeah.
Yeah, probably that.
Misinformation, stuff
People,
like that.
people hating each other.
Yeah.
Just typical American stuff.
0 Day.
0 Day. And final bit of news is some sad news. Tom Sizemore passed away at 61. This comes days after suffering an aneurysm. Tom was a great supporting actor in so many iconic films, Saving Private Ryan. He's in Heat. So he always puts on these stellar performances, supplementing incredible films for incredible lead actors and actresses. And, you know, he left a mark on cinema for sure, for how few projects he really worked on. But
he was in some of the best movies ever.
He's really a memorable actor. Everybody knows his face, recognizes him. So it's sad news to hear. He was with his family as he passed away in his sleep. And yeah, it's terrible.
It's very sad. That's young. Very young.
61, yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad. But that wraps movie news for this week. Lots going on. Episodes this week, obviously, Last of Us episode 8 review tomorrow. Only 2 episodes left, which is shocking because I feel like there's so much still to
So
go
much
over.
story.
There's a lot of narrative they got to get to. They got to move fast. They better start going. And then
James is watching.
I started playing Last of Us Part 2. It's pretty awesome. And then for Thursday's episode, we're going to be breaking down the box office. What does it mean? There's so many questions we get about the box office and misconceptions about the box office. I see online almost daily. How does it work in terms of splitting ticket sales with movie theaters? We'll analyze the box office and how it's changed over the last 10, 20, 50 years. We'll talk about inflation adjusting and how soon we should even start using it now, and everything, how it relates to studios, how much a movie has to make depending on its budget for a studio for the film to be profitable or just to break even, and talk about obviously some of the biggest hits, some of the biggest flops, but in general just discuss what the box office even means.
I can't wait. It's going to be very cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, a little off topic, but we also did Bourne Week last week. We did The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy, and The Bourne Ultimatum 3 days in a row. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Lots of Matt Damon.
All 3 of those episodes. It's pretty excellent, so you don't want to miss those. If you have already, go check them out.
They're great ones. They're great ones, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. We have 5 tiers, $2, $5, $10, $25, $100 tiers. Every patron has access to a bonus episode that we post every single week. Plus, at the minimum tier of $10, you get access to our Discord. It's an incredible film community that we've built, but every tier has awesome goodies, so check that out for sure.
We just did a couple of great watch parties the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, we did the raid last week. It was awesome.
Yeah. All right. See you next time, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, notifications for sure. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out this other content we have on our YouTube channel.